This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Coming up, vandals hit a nonprofit for young families in Northeast Portland, leaving a big mess behind. We talked to employees about what needs to happen so they can continue helping mothers and children.
And we're also looking at Portland's homeless crisis this morning from the perspective of two families faced with eviction. They told us where they think the issues lie. Plus,
I think people want to get out of the city, they want to see the river, the wildlife, take a country ride on their bikes or Harleys, walk on the paths. It's just like 20 years, 50 years ago in a small town. It's still the same.
Rod is back out on the road in Vernonia. He takes us through town to see what it's all about. That's coming up at 5:45 this morning.
this morning, by the way, is not only a Friday, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's right.
Whoa, I really did not expect the two of you to jump to that.
I'm in my black, I'm ready.
Before we talk more about that, before we get to Rod's forecast, one more thing to let you know about as far as this weekend is concerned, Dozer Day, back in Vancouver. So this is a really cool event. If you have young kids, you've never been out to this, they basically set up an amusement park at the Clark County Fairgrounds, but instead of traditional roller coasters and Ferris wheels, the rides are bulldozers and tractors.
Absolutely, kids love that.
It really is a fun event. So Devin Haskins is reporting live from the Dozer Day site for us. He's coming up here at 5:15.
He is our big kid. Looking forward to that with Devin. But first, Rod, you have got to fill us in on the chilly temperatures this morning.
To be honest, as a forecaster, speaking of myself, you don't really think about freezing temperatures when you're filling out your forecast sheet, so you don't really worry about putting out alerts for it, if that makes sense. But here we are, 5 o'clock in the morning, 33 Forest Grove, 33 Hillsborough. So you would assume there are patchy, light, frosty areas out there. Scappoose 35, Sandy's at 33, Gresham 35. More areas than not are down into the 30s. Forecast of 41 for Portland, and for the downtown PDX location, that's going to be a good number. But really did not think to go, wow, we could have patchy frost in other areas this morning, and we do have. Here's the bus stop. 30s out the door for more areas than not this morning. 53 at noon. Partly cloudy start, will cloud up. Notice the rain chance, and 60 when the kids get out of school. This will be a rainy Friday evening that actually leads to a warmer weekend. We'll have that forecast for you coming up.
All right, Rob, we look forward to that. Right now, though, we do want to get to our top story this hour on Sunrise. There's a memorial set up to remember 13-year-old Milani Lee. She's the teenager whose body was found earlier this week at a park in Beaverton.
A lot of people who live in this area told us that they're scared. They say they just don't feel safe right now. After an autopsy, Beaverton police ruled Lee's death a homicide. Investigators aren't saying much about the crime yet, only that they've followed up on several leads.
It's really unusual, really unusual. I think people are probably, pretty shaken by that. Maybe a lot of second thoughts, about whether you let your kids, walk out on the trails by themselves.
Lee's body was found in a small stream in Barrows Park on Tuesday. Police say she lived about a mile away and was last seen at her apartment in the Murray Hill area Sunday. Anyone with information should contact Beaverton Police.
We also have some new information this morning about a shooting that happened last Friday outside a Portland hotel along the South Portland waterfront. Police say 22-year-old Sir Charles Mark Anthony Jones was working as a security guard that morning when he was shot. Officers found Jones dead in a car near the Residence Inn at River Place. Again, this was last Friday morning. Investigators have now confirmed his death was a homicide, but there is no word yet on any suspects.
Vandals hit a Northeast Portland nonprofit that's already dealing with crime, drugs, and homelessness in its neighborhood. We talked to the staff at the Mother and Child Education Center in the Hollywood district. They say they discovered human waste all over their property this week and had to cancel appointments to clean it up. A few days later, somebody ripped out their Ring camera, broke a porch light, and had a man in crisis refuse to leave for 4 hours. Conditions are so unpredictable, the nonprofit now keeps its front doors locked.
We've had moms come up when someone's coming up with a mental health crisis. When I have young staff coming to work, having to crawl over people that are on the thing, that there's alcohol everywhere, there's needles outside. It's not safe for my staff to come.
Staffers say police run extra patrols in the area and have even trained them to de-escalate less dangerous situations. But beyond that, they're afraid there's no real solutions to their problems. They hope the public will help by staying vigilant around their property and donating money so they can continue their mission to help families.
Our next story this morning is a look at Portland's homeless crisis from the perspective of two families facing eviction. KGW's Blair Best talked with these two families who are facing the crisis head on.
Being told that, we're going to have to be out and have nowhere to go.
Lisa Antich and her family have lived in this home in southeast Portland for about 10 years. Out of the blue, their landlord sold it to an out-of-state buyer.
It was heart-wrenching. My biggest fear is we're going to end up sleeping in my car. And how am I going to tell my child that? That's my biggest fear.
The family lives on $1,000 a month between money she gets for her disability and retirement.
It's hard. It's hard, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it, and everything's a waiting list.
And they don't have time to wait.
We're out of days. We're on borrowed time. I was supposed to be out since the 30th of last month.
She can't find an apartment in her budget and has had no luck getting a housing voucher.
A lot of them wouldn't even help us until we're in the car. And then a lot of them won't help us because I'm not addicted to drugs and I don't drink alcohol.
She's afraid of what life on the streets would be like.
I am terrified. I'm terrified. My uncle was just killed on 136th, walking down the street. It was on the news just like a couple weeks ago.
Their plan? To sleep in the car, since a motel room is too expensive.
Well, first of all, that should never happen. Families and their kids should always have alternatives and affordable rent, and no family should be forced to live in homelessness with their child.
That's the director of Portland's Housing Bureau.
But no kid should be living in a car on the street.
I'm trapped. I can't afford to move, and then I don't have the credit to move.
In Salem is another side of this crisis. Kathleen Quinn is disabled and lives on a fixed income of $850 a month. She's been at this apartment for about 6 years, and it's been one issue after another.
And I've been telling them how hard it is for me to breathe in here.
Black mold coats her walls and windows, is under her sink and bedroom carpet, and all over her clothes.
My carpet, my furniture, my Birkenstocks, everything.
The septic tank floods into her apartment.
But trying to live in this, it's been horrifying. 15, 20 boxes.
Moving boxes fill her living room.
So I think I have enough.
She's preparing to move, even though she has nowhere to go.
So this is the bathroom, and the water heater's in there that flooded.
And in the bedroom,
this whole window had to be taken out, and it was super full of mold. That's inhumane. It's inhumane to expect people to live in such high levels of mold and ignore them. And
just like Lisa, she's tried calling people for help, but gets nowhere.
We don't know where we're going to go. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know where we're going to be.
That was Alma McCarty reporting. Now to some of the other headlines that we're tracking this morning. A central figure in the Ruby Ridge standoff with the FBI back in 1992 has died. Randy Weaver was 74 years old. He was the patriarch of a family involved in an 11-day standoff in Idaho with federal agents. 3 people died, including Weaver's wife. Authorities say that helped spark the growth of anti-government extremists here in the U.S. Primary election results could be delayed in Clackamas County next week. The problem is defective barcodes on 2/3 of the ballots that voters have returned so far. Machines can't read them, so workers will have to record them by hand. That is a slow process that will cost the county time and money. Clackamas County says there have been glitches from time to time in the past, but nothing on this scale. And the Washington Supreme Court has upheld a state law saying drivers high on marijuana can be cited for DUI. All 9 justices rejected an Everett man's challenge, claiming the law was unconstitutional. He alleged the voter-passed measure used arbitrary and vague standards to measure THC. And those are some of your Friday morning headlines.
We also have an update this morning on what are known as home buyer love letters. So those are the letters that potential buyers write to sellers to convince them that they're the best fit for a house. Those letters are allowed once again here in Oregon. On Wednesday, a federal judge permanently blocked the ban against those letters that was first passed by lawmakers last year. That ban ordered agents to reject direct communications between buyers and sellers over fears of discrimination. Well, the Pacific Legal Foundation filed the lawsuit to get that ban overturned, saying the ban really violated free speech for agents and their clients.
Love letters are about communication between a seller and a buyer. Sellers are looking for the best fit, the best offer for their house. It helps buyers, especially first-time home buyers, who might not have a chance to compete for a house, to be able to compete.
I'm a principal broker with John L. Scott Real Estate.
While real estate agent Michelle Maida pushed for the ban.
What your sellers should be looking at are what are the terms and what's my bottom line, not who is buying.
The Oregon Real Estate Agency says it does not plan to appeal this latest judgment.
All right, who else is super happy that it is Friday?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
It seemed like a long week. I was actually a day ahead all week. So yesterday I thought it was Friday. Today it really is.
You okay?
You basically voted twice, you know that? Who else is? And you raised your hand again. 2 hands for Brenda Braxton.
Wow. I'm not witty this morning. Drew's the only one that's really all here today then. And Nina's totally absent.
By no means am I all here. Trust me when I tell you that.
Surprisingly cold morning.
It
That's
really
probably the biggest thing you need to know is that you will want to dress warmly for the time you're outdoors before the sun pops up this morning. We have temperatures in the 30s, more areas than not up and down the I-5 corridor. We have this ball of clouds offshore, and that is rain that will still be coming in late this afternoon and then for a rainy Friday evening. Now that rain will be produced by a push of warmer air that will lead to much warmer nights and warmer days for your weekend. Here we are right now, Kelso 37, Salem 38, but there's a whole fistful of the smaller communities outside of the cities on this map. That Hillsborough, good morning, where you're down pretty close to freezing in spots. 36 in Newport. Bend is down to 32 degrees right now. Here's Futurecast. A partly cloudy start, increasing clouds into the afternoon hours. We'll start the rain chance into downtown Portland around 4 o'clock or so this afternoon. Here we are at 3:30, rain starting to move in. And then certainly once we get into the evening, it becomes a steady rain with some pretty decent rainfall rates going into 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Here we are at 9 p.m. Very rainy if you're going to be out with some friends tonight. That should be out of here by the time you get up tomorrow morning. And then the weekend to me still looks like, yeah, a little bit of moisture around Saturday, a little bit of moisture around especially Sunday afternoon, but overall not much and more dry time than wet both tomorrow and Sunday. Here we are tomorrow at 7:30. You can see really it was, for the most part, according to Futurecast, pretty dry day. All right, so your numbers, we get up to 60 today depending on when the clouds thicken and the first raindrops start to fall. Just a dab of rain around over the weekend. 66 tomorrow, 68 Sunday, warm nights. And then we have our next big soak coming in Wednesday into Thursday of next week. Happy Friday the 13th. Woo! We'll be back in just a moment.